Hey guys, it's siding day. Today we're going to teach you how to start your siding, how to trim your doors and windows, how to put on your corners, and probably about another 100 tips and tricks along the way. Cheers. So the first thing you need to know about vinyl siding is where to get it, right? Most people would think I'm going to go to my local builder store. Be careful. Some of the builder stores, they're only carrying 1 or 2 colors in stock, and the special order is the thinnest, cheapest product available on the market. As with anything, guys, the product lines that exist out there come in varying degrees of quality. Comes the same with paint, with cabinets, with tile, with anything. Vinyl's no different. So you can get the really thin, cheap stuff, or you can get a much better quality, okay? Almost twice as thick. The stuff that I'm buying, I get this from Gentek. The local home hardware up here in Ontario is the supplier for that. They got it to me in 48 hours, delivered the house. So that's a great option, right? So consider going to a smaller store if you can't find the quality that you're looking for. This color is iron ore for everybody that's interested. And that's right, we're gonna get a very modern, sexy look today. Now, before we get started with our corners, we do wanna chalk our starting strip line. That is this product right here. Do not worry about the color of your starting strip. They come white, gold, black, beige, whatever else, it doesn't matter. This gets covered completely by siding. The point is that is what we attach to the house to determine the first row of our siding, okay? All right. Now, when you want to determine your starting point, you take a look at your door. This jamb extension, it comes all the way down to here. Okay, here, let me do it this way. It'll be like a pointy stick. All right? It's the same height as the bottom of the sill. Okay? And so what you want is you want your starter strip to come down to that height, where that is. You want this to be at the same height as the bottom of that. All right? That way your siding goes on, and it's just a hair shorter. Okay? Like a 1/16. That's it. So the way we achieve that is you're gonna need a help for this, or you can do it blood, sweat, and tears. You can throw your siding, your starter strip on here with a nail, okay? And then you can grab a level, you can go to the other side and you go up and down, find a perfect spot, nail it on. Or you can work like this with another person. So we're gonna hold it close to the wall and I'm gonna lift it up until I'm making contact with the bottom of that jamb material. Okay? Pull it nice and tight. And are you making contact?
Yeah, right here.
Okay, now put it to the wall. And you got to snap your line at the same time. Okay? And go. There we go. There's the bottom. There we are. I like that. Now remember what that represents, that corner, because this door is sitting exactly on my subfloor. That snap line there is the top of the subfloor, okay? So what we're gonna do, Matt, is we're gonna install our starter strip. So the top of the subfloor, our chalk line, is where this groove is. I'm just gonna mark this on for the folks at home. That's where we're gonna put it. That means this is gonna go to cover the subfloor, and my siding goes a little bit further, so the subfloor is completely covered from the exterior, all right? And part of the reason for that is because we wanna make sure that our nailing flange goes into the bottom plate, and that makes this sit so tight that mice will never be able to work their way into the house. Okay? Here's the secret to cutting at the length. You want to put your corners on first, because they're a wild profile. Okay? You want to sit in the profile. All right? So I'm going to walk you through this. Now, can you reach the top of that?
Most likely not.
On a ladder?
Yep. I
just want to get a marker. Okay. So, thank you. That's going to represent the length that I need on this board. Okay, I'm gonna cut this and then we're gonna install it. And I know I started from the ground, it's gonna be too long, but too long is fine because I've got a system that makes a perfect cut after the fact, okay? So this is not the time to be picky. You don't have to be perfect when you start. We're gonna teach you how to be perfect when you finish. We have that same 18 degrees, eh? What I just finished marking here is, on the face I'm going across underneath that rafter exchange. And on the side, it's an 18-degree slope. So I'm gonna match that slope. In order to do the cutting, I'm using a 4-inch grinder with a continuous rim porcelain tile blade, okay? So instead of cutting through the vinyl, it more like melts it, all right? Now remember, I was thinking of you guys when I was designing this system. Grab my piece of facade there, will you? The 1x6? Bring it on over. So, here's the plan. This is the front of my house. perpendicular. Beautiful. And we have a 2x3 hanging here. Or sorry, 2x4 hanging here, right? On the front of the face. When I nail this on, it's going to cap over top of the material. So don't worry about the perfection of the cut at this point, okay? Even your angle, doesn't matter. I got almost 2 inches of overhang. This material would then be covered in black aluminum that comes from the store, designed to fit on a 1x6. Perfect fit every time, okay? So all we gotta do is get this hung in position, then we can get our siding installed on our snap line, and then we can use the same tools to come back after the fact and cut the bottom of the corner off exactly where you want it. Now we can do this for every corner. All right. I would prefer if I notched that out a little bit so I could sit it right up, all the way up like that. There we go. The only other thing you've got to be careful of when you're doing this sort of job is, now we've got our position, we want to square off this corner properly. You don't want to have it flattened out where the ribs are sticking up, okay? So you want to square out your corner, and then you want to stick on your nail. All right? Now, the key is here, we're hanging this for now, okay? Because we just want to make sure that all of our shape is perfect. I'm going to come around to the back side, and the next couple of nails that I put in, once I have my material nicely squared, I'm going to put at the top of my track. So it's hanging on that track, right? So it's got the ability to grow and expand in heat. That's really what we're trying to do here. Make sure that we stay nice and square, lift it up, set it as high as we can, and then hang it so there's movement, okay? As long as your vinyl has movement, it's installed correctly. If you install it too compressed, you're gonna run the risk of having everything buckling on the wall. Right. One more thing. This is the correct way to install siding. Put your nail between your fingers, okay? And then you nail. If you miss and you hit the fingers, the meaty part there, all of that tissue, all that flesh, you're not hitting it too hard, it won't hurt. Hit the backside, there's almost nothing there before the bone. That'll sting like a bugger, all right? There we go. I'm just gonna put one of these every 12 to 16 inches, making sure that we keep this nice and square. All right. We're gonna do this to all 4 corners. Maddie, all 4 corners. Okay, now the next thing we gotta get on here is we have to finish up the detail around our door. So we're gonna add a J trim, and then on top of that, we're putting black PVC to cover it all up. So it has a very similar effect to what's going on with the soffit. So you're not gonna see all of the trims around the doors and windows. My door is 82 1/4. Plus I have half inch subfloor. So I want to cut it 83 1/4. So the front is important. That's why I marked it. And with that square. Okay. And then from the back side, I'll just adjust and come from behind on an angle. And there's my piece. Oops. That's the one I want. Alrighty then. Same thing, only different. Okay, so here we go. Now when I'm doing this, I'm working flush to the top because the top piece we're going to integrate in just a minute. Just want to throw a nail in here. Hang this thing to the right height first. We've got our piece. I can put it inside. I can measure off into the middle of that track, which will be inside the gap. And just cut it off. All right. Now, here's my blue line. I'm going to mark it just so that you guys can see it. Okay? And I want that blue line around here. Remember, that makes sure that the vinyl is covering the subfloor area. Okay? See that? Bam. So that's what I want to do. So that's my line. I'm going to put a mark on that. And put a mark on here. And a mark over here. And that's how easy it is to set up your starter strip. All right. All we're doing now is looking for something to nail into. Okay? Now it's important with every aspect of this, you think about expansion and contraction. It's hot today, so we don't have to worry about expansion. This is already about as wide as it's gonna get. But I do wanna do, come on honey, get over there. Stay on that black line and find some wood that I can hang this in. Again, making sure that it's got some wiggle room, okay? Okay. Now we're over here. There's the middle. There's a stud. I can grab it here. All right. There's a stud here. Make sure I'm on my black line over here. And same thing, make sure you're gutting wood on every stud. If you've got sheathing, that's easier, but I don't, because I'm out here saving money. We're going to be putting a piece of trim here, right? And first I'm going to cut the outside dimension on this. All right? Now, because this is all going to be hidden, you don't have to be as picky. If you don't follow my system and you're going to see these trims, you got to be extremely square. Don't be afraid to use the grinder to get perfect angles, okay? Measure the thickness of our trim, okay? And it's 1 inch. In this case, note, if you're buying your stuff from the Home Depot, they're using 3/4 inch J trim and really, really thin vinyl, just so you're aware. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut in 1 inch from the bottom on both sides, near the joint. Okay? And then we're going to fold that down. We're going to do the same on both sides. 1 inch from the edge. And we're going to fold it down. Okay? And then what we're getting here is this goes inside the other U-channel. All right? So what we're actually getting, if I was to look at it, I got my U-channel here. I've got a piece coming across that extends all the way out, but the inside of it is bent like this. All right? And what that does is it takes the water from here into that channel, all right? And then it diverts it around the corner and then down the side, okay? So this is why we're doing this. It's a water diversion system. My next step, of course, is to cut back my tie par inside my J trim. All right. Nail my J trim on, put the tie par back inside, tape it in place, tape my gaps, and then overlay tape all the way down these J's so that all of the water from this whole system is diverted into something that's sending it all the way to the ground, okay? Now here's one of the benefits of my system. There's a little bit of a gap here, okay? Obviously, this wasn't all the way flush up top. It's not gonna be affecting anything as far as waterproofing. It's just for the looks of the thing. That's why I've designed this so that you're putting a cap over all of this that's gonna look pretty. So you don't have to be perfect in your water management and your WRB. You can just be efficient and scientifically correct without being aesthetically correct. And then we'll make the aesthetics later. I'm going to need my blue tape. Take my knife. And then lift that up and tape it on the inside. I know, it don't look pretty, but just think of the rain, okay? Think about the rain and making sure that whatever you put on this wall is going to be going in the right direction. Sealing up your corners, which are the weak spots. Making sure your whole barrier is continuous. And then, this tape is giving me a lot of issues today. Right here, over top of that flange, okay? Now your barrier to your tape, to your solid vinyl, is all one piece and water can't escape. Matt, you want to finish that run all the way down. There you go, thank you. All right, now Matt, while I'm finishing this off, why don't you pull out a couple of pieces of siding, get them on the table, measure for first cuts, take actual measurements minus a 1/4 inch. We'll leave just a hair on each side, okay? For those 40-degree days. There we go, guys. There we go, right in the corner. Bam. So if there's a weak spot, it's taken care of. And down the flange. We are now prepped for some vinyl siding install. All right, it goes incredibly quick. Always fold the tape over so you can find the end again. So let's hit a couple 71 1/4. Let's hit a couple at 71 1/8, a couple at 71, and we'll follow that curve on the way up. All right, so now, since I'm working with them, we can work like machines, right? So what I do is I go like this. 2 at 71 1/4. Love the markers. 2 at 71 1/8. 2 at 71 inches. Okay, that gives me 6 times 9. Should take me up to around here somewhere. Now what we do, just so you can see this, we're gonna slide below this, okay? Because we've got this locking joint, all right? So I want to bring the back side lower than this front edge, and then we'll clip it up and lock it into place. Make sure she's locked in place good. You can't lift it if it's locked in place, okay? It won't move. If it's flexing, you haven't got it caught right. Now, we're looking for, in this case, because I cheated, remember? I don't have aspenite, so that's my stud, okay? So I'm looking to hang this by gentle pressure up, okay? Middle of the stud, middle of the nail track, okay? With movement. Should be wiggle room there. That is the only protection that we have against expansion, contraction, and warping. Okay? Then we hang the siding. So in the next piece, we're going to bend it in behind the trim and starting low. And this actually, siding to siding, locks together a lot better than the starter strip, all right? You're not going to be so frustrated. Same thing. There we are. The stud. So once you got it locked in the locking strip, it should hold it horizontal. The secret is apply the same kind of pressure. So I like to use my middle finger to lift, just create some tension. And I use about the same kind of tensile strength with every piece that I'm lifting, so that I'm keeping level. And the only way that you can double check that is every few rows. Well, that's really close. Every few rows you can throw a level on it and see how she's looking.
Yeah.
Let's see if we're looking somewhat consistent
Yeah,
here.
we haven't done that yet.
Not in a whole long time.
Oh.
Pretty darn close. Just taking a look at the top of the strips. Oh, yeah, we're within a 1/16. Your angle might be a little off on this side, or mine's a little off on that side.
Who knows?
So we can adjust that in the next one.
Yep.
Now that we got everything established, we have a same 2x8 frame all around the entire building, measuring up 7 inches, okay? Boom, perfect. So now we got 7 inches from the bottom is where my siding finishes. So I'm gonna set my starter strip at 7 1/8 of an inch. We're gonna just make marks on the corners, drop a chalk line, and then we're gonna mark up from there where the top of the starter strip goes. And this will be done in no time. Whoa, that is some serious sunshine. Alrighty. When I'm working like this, I'm literally trying to hit it with the heel of the hammer, okay? So if I miss that way. If I miss this way, I'm not gonna damage the face. I'm trying to aim to the center of the hammer. There's too many times where you're gonna catch a corner. So, I'm hammering like this. Turning my hammer, coming at it from the heel. Okay? Not sure where the heel is. You can always set the heel on your wall and then just pivot, and you can never miss. Right? But I don't have all day to do that. All right, here we go. Yeah, I've got aspenite back here. I'll show you that again. It's the heel technique. All right? So if you're not sure, set your hammer where you want to go. Hold your hand here. You can just drive it like that. It's a two-handed hammer technique for people who are nervous maybe, or unfamiliar with using a hammer. You just line it up, put your handle here. Now you've got a fulcrum, and you can hammer with the other hand. Works great for kids. That way they can actually help and not damage their siding. All right, and every 12 to 16 inches, which is basically the length of a hammer, if you're wondering, okay? When in doubt, just use the hammer as a measure. Here's a little nugget for you. When you're looking for a distributor for your siding product, it's about the company product line, not the company name. Just like Kohler can make an amazing toilet, or something that's just as much crap as what's going in the toilet, siding companies have different quality lines. And if you know which quality line to go for, it's really simple. Go to the website, look at all the different thicknesses, find the one that's in the middle. It'll also be in the middle of the price range. And then you can ask your supplier, do you sell them by the piece, or do a guy buy a whole box? Some guys will only sell the whole box. It's 200 square feet. And if you only need 1 or 2 pieces out of that box, that becomes a very expensive material. So, where I went to at Home Hardware, they were selling the Gentek product, and this is a really good quality line, and I was able to buy it by the piece. And that was a real benefit. So it's worth the ask. So if you're wondering, going, Jeff, what the hell are you doing here? I'm identifying my stud. If you haven't watched the whole program, I have house wrap. I don't have any sheathing here. I sheathed the back wall, and then I braced the side walls, and then I added collar ties on the roof to the front plate. That's my structure. And don't get upset with me. There are tons of houses all over America where they've got an insulation board that's 1 inch thick, then a house wrap, and then siding. That's right. Thousands and thousands and thousands and tens of thousands of homes. And all you need is a piece of knife like this, and you cut a section out, walk in like a door. Yep, so if you're interested in safety, maybe put the aspenite on. But this is a perfectly acceptable building practice for most homes in most areas in this country. So it's sure as heck good enough for a shed. Remember, if you want to save money, you can't build best practices. Best practices is processes and materials. And it gets very, very expensive in a hurry. Okay? Best practices will almost double the cost of any build. If your house is average, your shed should be average too, or you're just wasting your money. Now listen, if you ever are on a project and you wanted to repair some damaged siding, check out the back of this bad boy. This code right here tells you the date of production, tells you the number of the die lot, and that barcode tells you the name and the color and the dimensions. It gives you all that information. You can take a picture of that and you can just compare. You can go into a Google search and put in that code, and it'll tell you which company, which manufacturer made that product in your Google search. You can call them up and say, hey, do you have this color, right? Here's my code, here's my color, and then you got all your information. So you can match up your product exactly. Because this product comes in a 4.5 inch and a 5 inch profile and a couple of other different types of profiles and a couple different thicknesses, right? Depending on the quality. So that is how you can check that out. Just peel them off the wall and then go shopping. Okay, really quick skill testing question. When we do the overlap and we go left to right, the right side overlaps the left side. So you might see this gap here a little bit, but can you see this one and this one at the same time? Hardly at all, right? Now let's flip this look around and look the other way, and you'll see what it looks like from the wrong direction. So these two gaps here, you can see the shadow really predominantly, which means when you're thinking about curb appeal and vision from the street, as people are driving by, as you're getting your house taken to put it on the market, from the front of the house to the back of the house, start at the back, working your way to the front, so you overlap, so all the neighbors in traffic see a really pretty house. If that's the back of the house and that's the front of the house, all the neighbors in traffic are going to drive by seeing all of your little gaps. And that is going to look like hell, okay? So, that is the front of the house. This is the back of the house. So start at the back, work into the front, so you're always overlapping. So all the rest of the neighborhood sees a perfect siding job. All right, cheers. All right, guys, let me just walk you through the measuring process again. Remember we talked about, that's weird.
Yeah, on every single one.
The factory cut, they got a nick in the die, do they? Right? So we're gonna take a measurement from the rib, right? To the edge here, which take the perfect measurement, and it's 45.5. And don't ever be afraid to mark the measurements down with a black marker, knowing that I'm going to be measuring 45.5 from here and then cutting straight off. And then when I go and install it, I'll install it like that. I'll slide it into the corner, and then I'll split the difference, and that's where I'll nail it, okay? So let's go do that now, 45.5. Okay, so remember, my measurement was from the rib, not from the edge of the siding. That's the whole system here. Okay, lock it in, get it underneath there, left and right. So I'm gonna split the damage a little bit. That's it. One up the middle. Woo! Really does suck it in when it's done, eh? And then just a little bit of upward pressure to make sure you're closing up these gaps, okay? Today we are installing the windows on our shed. Listen, these are painted black, okay? They come in white or black. Lowe's carries both colors, but they didn't have it in stock, so I got the white ones. Still having supply chain issues out there in the marketplace. Not a big surprise, really, right? All right, this window here was framed perfectly. If you remember back to the original video when we started framing this shed, the other side we had to modify on the spot. This side we framed intentional. So what I'm looking for is my inside corner here, okay? And I'm gonna slice down to where it opens up and then come across and then slice like that again, all right? And then the rest of it, I'm just gonna trim off nice and clean. Because we are, because we don't have a nailing flange on this window, I have to install it in such a way that we're going to be completely weather sealed on the exterior of the building. I don't need to worry about wrapping all this up in tape and everything else. If you want to, you can. It's just not necessary. There we go. There's my window. We're going to deal with that later. First, if you're working alone, just grab a piece of scrap wood, all right? This is front heavy, all right? That gives you the ability to move things around and level it off inside, all right? But today I got my son helping me. Ha, ha, ha.
Yes, sir.
I love working with an actual second pair of hands instead of just using tricks like this as a second pair of hands. Makes things move a lot faster and usually a lot more fun. I'm just using my torpedo level here, guys. The sill we installed is sort of level. I mean, you do your best in your framing, but when you're doing actual installation work, there we go. There's one screw. Now, this side is a little bit low. And because we think we leveled the siding, we're going to try to level the window as well. There we go. Now, I'm going to hold it tight. Now, I'm going to just look at the level until I get that squared off. Perfect. Okay, there we go. And we're just going to fasten another screw down here. The idea is just to create some strength so this doesn't have a lot of movement on the outside. I don't want to have a window flapping around in the wind. We'll go up again. Okay, beautiful. Now that's installed. Now what we have to do is the weatherproofing on the outside. Let's go do that. Just going to take the measurement, the outside measurement of this one, which is exactly, we're going to call it 34 3/4, and then you add 2 inches to it.
34 3/6.
Because I need it to extend the full profile depth on each side.
Okay.
Okay? Okay. There we go. We're going to get that underneath the tie bar here. All right. Now, my next measurement is going to be 17 and a half and a hair, okay, for whatever reason. Usually it's because when they make these things, they're melting the corners and they're always sticking out a little bit. All right, in this case, I don't know exactly where my 1 inch is right now, so I'm gonna put my nail in the middle of my flange hole. Leave a little room for me to be maneuvering, right? I'm getting way ahead of myself again. Dear Lord, what is wrong with me today? Okay. Before I nail this up, it's backwards day today, isn't it? Is that what it is?
I'm
It's
feeling it
National
too, man.
Backwards Day.
Yep.
Wow. Okay. Guys, I gotta cut my trim just like I did with the door. All right, and if you didn't see that, maybe you should watch that video where I seemed to have my wits about me. My goodness. Cutting it 1 inch down. Okay, and I'm bending the bottom. Both sides. What we're creating here is a path for the water that's going to be collected when it rains. It's going to hit the top of this window, and then we're redirecting it down the sides. All right, by doing that. Now I've got something that I can nail in. This is going to be great. You know, I love this shark tooth hammer. But this is always getting caught on that nail thing. It's driving me nuts today. Okay, here we go. This is sliding in behind. Okay, so any water that gets collected is now diverted down the side and running away from the whole window body, okay? So let me just double check my measurement. Make sure that this is exactly 1 inch. Perfect. Now, I use my thumb as my measuring mark here, okay? I'm gonna cut the back of this away so that the other piece of trim can go in behind. So here, that's my location. That makes it perfect. I do not have a nailing surface here, however, for this flange, so that's why I'm gonna use the drill there, Matt. And screw that right into the vinyl. Okay? Left my bit and screw, that's awesome. Here we go. Okay, so that's an exterior screw that's holding the trim to the window. We're also gonna put a little bit of caulking on here after the fact to make sure that that's all waterproof. Let's get the other side on. What I'm doing is I'm modifying this bottom track just so I got a nice clean overlay here, all right? So that the siding can be tight against the underside of the window, all right? Is take our tie part here, trim it down the same height as the top trim. We're going to take our tuck tape and we're going to tape that into the right another. Okay. We shouldn't leave this sitting in the sun. There we go, we need all there. I'm gonna come over all of those nailing flange holes, make contact with the WRB here, which is wind and rain barrier, which is what tie par is. Okay, there we go. All right. There we have it. Now this side is ready for siding. There we go. We'll get out the caulking later. Probably grab the paintbrush, clean this window up, give it one more quick coat, make sure that I'm perfectly happy with it. I can still see a couple of brush marks in this. Oh, well, no big deal. Okay, so what I'm doing is I cut it. I'm gonna try to measure this off, but I wanna get my siding halfway behind this trim first. And give myself a little bit of mercy. So I don't wanna go right out this corner. I wanna go about a 1/4 inch in. So it has a little bit of room, and I do that on both sides. Okay? And then I'm gonna get the measurement, run in behind, all the way to the top, down to here. It's 5.5. And I'm gonna take just a hair off, 1/8 off, okay? And then I'm gonna measure from the bottom up and put that mark. So it's not exactly perfect. I'm gonna cut 5.25 from the bottom. Here we go, Scooby-Doo. Okay, so here's my line. And I'm gonna measure 5.25 from the bottom. Oh, really? Oh, cool. Okay, I'm gonna use this as a guide. Hold my marker against my square. Run that over here till I see here's my mark. Okay. Now, because I've got the thick part of the siding, that's of the profile that's left, it'll stick underneath that J-trim, and I don't need to add any backers or buffers. This would be perfect. Now, the secret here is to try to get it underneath, and then, oh, there we go. And then we got to get it in behind. All right, now, for whatever reason, go. Working in the heat of the sun makes this a little bit easier. But generally, I like to just bend it in. All right. There we go. You don't have to be above the window. You can just come right up, right underneath. Okay. Put this into here.
Yeah, that's good.
And just go up underneath. There you go. Little bit of wiggle room on both sides. Okay. Yeah, that actually works really nice like that. Okay, now just remember, use the square to translate that line to where your cut is.
Okay.
and you'll be fine. There you go. You'll find that it's easier to move the J-trim than the siding in that environment, especially when it's warm, right? Oh, careful, careful, careful. Slide. Patience, patience, patience. You're not behind this. There you go. Okay. Perfect.
Perfect.
Hey, you know what's kind of fun?
Yeah.
They look the same. You measured it and cut it different than I did. You installed it different than I did, but it looks perfect. That's amazing. All right. Oh, wow. We both got a little chunk to cut and install, and then we got to do the big piece across the top. All right. So what I did is I went up on the ladder and I measured the gaps, okay? I just wrote it right on the face of the tie part in my black marker, nice and big, so I can see my measurements from the table. 17 1/8. Boom. Recording. There we go. Change the corner. Now, in this environment, it's easier to start up top, getting behind all the trims. Okay, and then you just pull it over. Lift and lock. Why is that one? Was catching a nail there, I guess. There we are. Oh. Now, because of the nature of the trim, we're gonna put a 16-foot piece up next. It's gonna go up and around 2 or 3 different objects here. I don't wanna nail this piece in, okay? Very important. These little fillers don't need nails. They're already gonna be held by the J-trims, locked together, okay? This gives us the ability to move. See all that? That gives us the ability when we come back with our long piece, it's not gonna have any structural integrity because we're gonna be cutting around windows and doors. That way we can engage all the locks on all of these 3 pieces and then have one straight line going across. That's how you connect the dots. It's easier to come from the top. You missed the point when I was explaining that on camera. There you go, you slide that in.
No way.
Yeah, and then you just pull it over the bottom. No way, he says. Boom. Okay, now I'm in. Can you pencil mark where that cut is gonna be? Preferably marker, it's a lot easier to see and it's a 16-foot piece, right? You got one on you?
Yep.
Okay, use the marker. Just a little line, there you go. Okay, now, what we gotta do, is stop leaving our tools on the bench, Jeff. Genius. All right. Now, I also need you to mark where it goes behind the door jamb. The door J, okay? All right, and that's in behind?
Yeah.
Okay. Here's the fun part. We're measuring from here to here. And that's the depth of the cut. Here we go. Alrighty. Coming from the top, get in my J-trim there. Get in all your trims. It's gonna be the hardest part is to work around the doors and those connections, okay? Okay? You got that one? All right. Huh? What did we do wrong? Yeah, measure from the rib to the siding instead of the top of the door. Okay, well, that was really well done, Jeff. Wow. Okay, when you make a mistake, you can modify your cutoff siding so that you can still have that overlap by doing this. All right, so now we can measure from the rib for the next piece, and we'll just do the same thing. Grab another full one for me, bud.
Cool.
Great. So it's not a full piece, eh?
8 inches,
Yeah.
7 7/8.
Huh. We're 8?
8, yeah.
Okay. Let's get, what this is instead of using... Nice.
That might have been me.
Instead of using the J trim up here, we're using a different profile. And that's a little bit different profile. This is designed for when you cut your siding and your profile is really close to the wall, okay? This is how we stick it in. Oh, look at it, nice double all the way across. All right, so that now when we put our siding in, the little skinny profile will slide underneath that, and that'll hold it nice and snug. Woohoo!
Beautiful.
All right, all the way to the left, my friend.
Oh, we're friends now.
We want the joint. I got all kinds of words I can call you.
They're all probably, what's the word I'm looking for?
Not complimentary?
No, they're all. Okay.
Sweet.
You know what we're doing?
Kinda. Now, some of you guys are gonna be like, oh, that's gonna look like crap. You don't have a trim. Remember, we're using a 1x6 fascia, okay? Comes way down to here. It's gonna be almost flush right up against the siding. So the finish is gonna look amazing. I'm building this way on purpose so that it minimizes the amount of mistakes that a DIYer can make, okay? And trust me, we've had our fair share. All right.
There we go.
Okay.
Beautiful.
All right, now the last thing we got to do here, grab a couple of soffit screws. And 3, I got 4 of them, that's good. I'll give you 2, one in the short piece and one next to it. So the soffit screws are black in the shadow from the underside, okay? Designed to pull the 2 joints together, all right? And the reason I'm using those is because there's no nailing fin on this, and the compression is great and all, but we just want to have that little extra peace of mind so that we don't come back after some bad windstorm and have siding laying on the ground. So I'm taking 1x6, all right? Knotty pine, trying to save a couple dollars here. I'm going flush with the end, and I'm gonna throw a screw in it just so that I'm gonna be finishing as wide as the total soffit assembly will be. Okay, come on, baby. Okay. All right, we'll try that again. So this is the nicer wood. I believe that these are actually 25 bucks a pop in Canada right now. Insane.
25 bucks a piece?
Yep.
Yeah, that is insane.
Okay. That is my location right there. There we go. Yes, sir. That is a darn good look. All right. Hoorah. Hey. Really? Want to just pass me the other end?
Oh.
All right, let's go to 79 and a half. There we go. Brilliant. So what we're going to do here is we're going to show you guys how to put screws in the wood near the end. So we got just the point of in the wood. Okay, we're going to go in reverse. And then I'm going to change my angle because I'm going into a rafter. And I'm going to change my angle this way as well because I want to make sure I'm catching a lot of this meat on the way through the wood. I'm burning it in reverse the whole time. Now I've got my trajectory all lined up. I go in forward and the wood never splits. Perfect every time. Hey, there we go. One more over here. Okay. Now this last one, Matt. 34 and a quarter.
34 and a quarter.
You gonna do the reverse strip there?
Do I have to?
Yeah, because you're right on a knot, let alone. There you go. Oh, you're on a knot. I would say not to do that. Okay. I'll do the second one on the bottom so it doesn't curl up. Okay. So what we want to do when we're doing fascia is we want to have the face actually wrap the side piece that's coming, okay? And then we'll be able to have the side piece come down over top of the wrapping. So we're going to just cut room for something simple like that. I'm going to take my little whisk bender here. Okay, there we go. Now I got a cap. All right.
Oh.
One at a time. How's that sound?
Yep.
All right, and we don't want to screw through the face if we can get away with it.
Okay.
Okay. Now, find a place where it's solid because the wood is coming and going, and pull it underneath. But don't go too close to the front or it'll get a wrinkle. There you go. Now, in the same location as underneath, you want to put it up the top, above the last rib on the flat section, okay?
Just on the. Like that?
Just make sure that the pan is on the other side of the profile of that rib, or it'll flatten and start to dent out, right? You see that? But towards the top side of that.
I got you.
Yeah. There you go. Okay, so that leaves the profile looking really clean. See the other screw where the profile got a little dent? All right, so start and then slide it in, okay?
Under?
Yeah. Close it up first. See, because the end has a cap on it. And then slide it until it's perfect. I'm just gonna hit the face of this. Okay. And then we're gonna hit the face of this. Okay. And then you're gonna drive the middle and the end. You know what? You're way too far back, yeah. There you go. This one here from the ground, you can see it being pulled up because of the curve that's in the wood. So I'm just gonna take a little relief. So does the camera pick up the fact that this is like dented or pressed up? Okay, so I don't like the look of that. Now, because it's a screw, I'm just gonna back it up just a touch. And you'll look at, it changes the profile. There, that's much nicer. Cheers. All right. Yeah, figures.
You want the grinder?
No, I want the snips. I want to at least come down to there. All right. Thank you.
Here you go.
Well, there we go, eh? We move so fast sometimes we forget what we're doing. Did I get a marker up here too, bud?
Yeah, here.
Thank you. Okay. Little retrofit action here. There's my stud. Boy. There we go. Okay. All righty. And instead of using a hammer and swinging off a ladder up here, I'm just going to use the screws. There we go. Okay. How's that working?
Perfect.
I know.
Your system's better than mine.
Hey, imagine that.
I mean, yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Sure.
Okay, you got a soffit screw to throw in that piece? Get right in the middle, okay? Brilliant.
Clicks.
Yeah, you're locked. You're good.
I think it's...
Okay, give me a measurement for my triangle. All right.
Perfect.
Okay. Here we go. One more thing. We're done the siding. Yay. So we got our doors in, our windows in, the siding's on, our flashing on the front and the back are done, but we had to make a modification to our design. We're going to buy 1x8 to do the side so that we can cut and meet up with the front. That's right. I made this design in my head, didn't draw it out. Never built this particular design before, so there's one change. Oh well.
Big deal.
Not a big deal.
Cool.
All right. We're gonna let everybody wrap up, and we'll put the tools away, get the camera out of the rain, because we're gonna hit here in any second. Another day cut short by Mother Nature. Loving this summer so far. Cheers to the next time.